Greetings friends and welcome back to Recon by Fire. For today's match, the Grey Knights are bringing 2 Nemesis Dreadknights, a Strike Squad, 3 Brotherhood Techmarines flying solo, one of them has the first to the Fray enhancement, Brother Captain Stern, a Grandmaster with the Sigil of Exigence enhancement leading a 10-man brick of Paladins, and finally Grandmaster Voldus leading a 10-man brick of Paladins as well. Orks are playing the Bully Boys detachment and they are led by Gazgul Thraka leading a 5-man squad of Knobs. 2 War Bosses in Mega Armor leading their own 5-man squads of Mega Knobs. 3 War Bosses each leading their own squad of Knobs. A Weird Boy leading a squad of Boys. 3 squads of Gretchen. 2 squads of Storm Boys. And 2 trucks. Today's mission deployment is Crucible of Battle. Mission is Scorched Earth. And mission rule is Inspired Leadership. Grey Knights are going first this battle and have elected to take fixed secondaries, locking in behind enemy lines and established locus. Strike Squad will sticky the home objective. Start of the movement phase and the first NDK will advance to just barely toe on the objective. Second NDK will follow suit, getting line of sight on the truck. Brotherhood Techmarine with first to the Fray will bamf in deep within the enemy deployment zone to score some points. Going into shooting and the NDK that can see the truck will fire into it, bringing it down to 7 wounds remaining. That will end the turn for the Grey Knights, scoring 3 points for behind enemy lines and 4 points for establishing locus. Bottom of round 1 and the Orks will draw extend battle lines and secure no man's land as secondaries for the turn. Pretty good. The truck will heal back up to 8 wounds. Boys will sticky the home objective. Having a target nearby, the Knobs will disembark the truck. It will then make its way towards the nearby expansion. Knobs that just disembarked will move forward to make the charge unfailable against the lone Techmarine. Second squad of Knobs will advance to get on the objective. Gretchen will move through the wall to potentially reinforce the point next turn. Second truck will go after the NDK that had the nerve to shoot at it. Storm Boys are going to push forward and secure the center objective. Second squad of Storm Boys are going to storm the NDK objective. Gretchen will advance, pushing them from one building into the other. Gaz's unit will advance 10 inches total and push deep into no man's land. Weird Boy succeeds the jump, pushing a ton of OC onto the center objective. Knobs will fire into the Techmarine and fail to score a wound. Going right in the charges and the Knobs will make theirs into the Techmarine. Storm Boys will make their charge into both NDKs. Knobs easily pick up the Techmarine. Storm Boys will send all their attacks into one NDK. In response, the Grey Knights are going to spend 1 command point on true silver armor. It proved to be worth it as the NDK fails to take a wound. First NDK will clap back, picking up 3 Storm Boys. And the second one picks up the rest. That will end the turn for the Orks. They'll score 5 points for extend battle lines and 5 points for securing 2 objectives in no man's land. At the end of the turn, Grey Knights are going to pick up 1 NDK, a Brotherhood Techmarine, and the Paladin Squad with the Grandmaster. Top of round 2 for the Grey Knights, they control 2 objectives, so they will score 10 points on primary. Start of the movement phase, and the NDK will fall back, maintaining line of sight, but making the next charge as difficult as possible. Paladin Squad will move out of the building to get line of sight on the Knobs on the objective. Techmarine will push forward, staying inside the building. Grandmaster's Paladin Squad will have to do some sneaky positioning, but they do manage to fit the entire squad behind enemy lines. The NDK will arrive from deep strike, towing the template to be able to see the Knobs. The lone Techmarine will hide behind the Paladins to establish locus. The Orks somehow got turned around and they'll spend a command point to rapid ingress the Mega Knobs on their own deployment zone. Voldus and the Paladins will fire into the Knobs on the objective. In response, the Orks are going to go to ground. It proves to be worth it as they only take a single wound. NDK's turn to fire into the same squad, and it manages to pick up 3 models total. Grandmaster Squad will fire everything into the Knobs, trying to avoid the 2+ armor save, and they manage to pick up 2 models. NDK fires into the truck and manages to take it down. Mega Knobs inside will emergency disembark and manage to not take a single wound. Going into charges, and with a huge surprise, the Paladins make the 9-inch charge into the Mega Knobs. Orks elect not to heroic with the nearby Knobs. Moving on to the fighting phase, and not gonna lie, this is a pretty awesome shot. Anyways, Paladins are gonna fight into the Orks. They do manage to take down 3 Mega Knobs and 3 Gretchen. The Orks did use 2 Arrogant to die here, which is gonna allow 2 of the Mega Knobs to fight before heading out. Mega Knobs will clap back and they pick up 1 Paladin. War Boss will bring a Paladin down to 1 wound remaining. Lastly, the Gretchen will clap back, and the brave little Runtard scores the final wound to take down another Paladin. And that's going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. They'll score 4 points for behind enemy lines, and 4 points for establishing Locus. Bottom of round 2 for the Orks, and they will draw Engage on all fronts and defend Stronghold as their secondaries for the turn. They control 3 points, but can only score a maximum of 10 points on primary. The boys will sticky the center objective, and the Gretchen successfully farm an additional CP. Start of the movement phase, and the Mega Knobs will secure the point they were so close to last turn. Knobs will disembark from the truck to get on the point. Truck will push forward to move block the Paladins. Gretchen will get their OC on the point to make it extra secure. Knobs will make their move towards the lone Techmarine. Stormboys will make a massive advance, putting them all the way in the Grey Knights deployment zone. Boys will finish securing the center objective. Quick apology here, folks. The camera footage was unfortunately corrupted and unusable, so I'll have to just walk you through the roughly half a turn that went by. In a surprise, the Knobs shot into the Techmarine, taking it down. All the Orks on the southern objective opened up on Voldus' Paladin Squad and failed to take one down. The Knobs that took down the Techmarine will charge into the Paladin Squad with the Grand Master, and the Stormboys charge into the Strike Squad on the home objective. Strike Squad will true silver armor, keeping them all alive, and they manage to clean up the Stormboys. Grandmaster will spend their once per game discount here on interrupting. They manage to clean up the entire Knob squad and take down most of the Mega Knobs, but the War Boss and 1 Mega Knob remain. The Gretchen and the remaining Mega Knobs will strike back, taking down 2 Paladins, with the Runtard scoring the killing blow yet again. This will end the turn for the Orks, scoring 2 points on Engage because the Stormboys did not survive, and holding on to defend until the end of the next turn. The Grey Knights will pick up both NDKs and Voldus' Paladin Squad. Top of round 3, and the Orks will call their first WOG. Grey Knights control 1 objective and will score 5 points on primary. Techmarines, Stern, and the Strike Squad all fall back off the objective this turn to avoid giving Gaz extra movement with a good charge. Voldus uses Prognosticated Arrival to thread a needle between the 2 squads, landing as many Paladins on the objective as possible. NDK arrives behind enemy lines to establish Locus. NDK arrives in the corner to get line of sight on the Weird Boy and his squad. Moving on to shooting, and the Paladins open up on the Weird Boy squad, taking down 6 boys. NDK, not performing the action, will fire into the same squad and manages to pick up the rest of the boys as well as the Weird Boy. The same Dreadknight will fail its charge into the Gretchen, which will make this a fantastic time for you to smash that like button if you haven't done so already. Moving to ongoing combat, and the War Boss will strike first. The Grey Knights will true silver armor. In response, it proves to be worth it and not a single Paladin falls. Grey Knights will pile in, sending 5 into the Gretchen and 4 into the War Boss. War Boss will prove why he's in that position and survives yet again at 3 wounds remaining. Rest of the Knights will go into the Gretchen, and they only kill enough to tie on OC, which means thanks to sticky objective, they will still score defend Stronghold. That is huge. That is going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. They'll score 4 points for behind enemy lines and 4 points for establishing Locus. Orks will score the 3 points for defending Stronghold. Bottom of round 3, and the Orks will draw Bring It Down and Cleanse as their secondaries for the turn. They will control 2 objectives and burn a third, scoring them 15 points on primary. The War Boss fails his leadership check. Gaz and company will advance to get as close to the objective as possible. Mega Knobs make a huge advance with a 6, getting them on the center objective. The truck will advance in reverse, getting eyes on the NDK. The Gretchen will spread out to negate the Grey Knight shenanigans. No good shooting for the Orks, so we go right into charges, and the truck will back into the NDK. Gaz will attempt a 10-inch into the lone Techmarine and fails with an 8. Command reroll draws a 7. Start of combat, and the truck swings into the Dreadknight, failing to score a single wound. Ongoing combat, and Grey Knights start with the Paladins. They'll send 5 into the Gretchen, and that proves to be enough this time to pick up the entire squad. The remaining 4 go into the War Boss, and he goes full on Hulk mode, saving all but 1, so he's down to 1 hit point remaining. What a boss. He will clap back down and manages to absolutely pulverize the Paladin. Dreadknight slams his hammer into the truck, leaving it at just 1 wound remaining. At the end of the turn, Grey Knights will pick up the Strike Squad. Voldus and company will bamf out as well, and they'll take the moment to smash that like button while they're out. Barely escaping Gaz, the lone Techmarine is going to fade away as well. That's going to end the turn for the Orks. They'll score 4 points for cleansing 2 objectives and discarding Bring It Down for a command point. Grey Knights are behind on primary and will select Command Insertion as their secret mission. Top of round 4, and the Orks will call their second WOG. Grey Knights control 2 objectives, but due to taking a secret mission, they will only score 5 points on primary. Dreadknight will use his full movement to not only get on the point, but have a decent charge against the war boss. That's all for movement. Going into reinforcements, the Strike Squad will come in behind enemy lines to hopefully bait some Orks. Last Techmarine standing will teleport in to establish Locus. Both players agree with prognosticated arrival. The Paladin Squad is able to bamf in a position where Gazgrul and company cannot get through the walls, making it almost impossible for them to get around. Start of the shooting phase, and the Strike Squad fire into the Gretchen, picking up 5 of them. Dreadknight will fire into the truck at point blank range and manages to take it down. Going straight in the charges, and the nearby NDK will make its charge into the Mega Warboss. The Dreadknight that took down the truck did not make its charge into the same Warboss. Dreadknight will swing its Greathammer into the Warboss and finally takes that bad boy down. Jeez. That is going to end the turn for the Grey Knights. They'll score 4 points for establishing Locus and 4 points for behind enemy lines. Bottom of round 4 for the Orks, and they will draw Area Denial and Overwhelming Force as their secondaries for the turn. They control 1 objective and burn another for 10 points on primary. Gretchen successfully farm an additional command point. Start of the movement phase, and Gaz will demonstrate why he's the boss, rolling a 6 on the advance, giving him a whopping 12 inches of movement to get around the building. Meganobs will roll a 1 on their first advance, but a command reroll turns it into a 5, and they are in. And in what I believe is a mistake, the Paladins do not Mist of Deimos away. The Knobs take the bait, going for the Strike Squad, moving further away from their home objective. The Strike Squad will Mist of Deimos to safety. Squad of Boys will about face and make a run towards the Grey Knights' home objective. Gretchen that are burning the center objective will reposition to hide as many behind a wall as possible. Second Squad of Gretchen will advance towards the center to help their brethren. Moving into charges, and this is going to be so gross. Gaz scores a 9, and the players agree that's going to be enough to get him around and into the backside of the Paladins. This is bad news for the Knights of Titan. The Meganobs will fail their charge into the Paladins, and the boys failed their charge. They needed a 10. Moving into combat, and Gaz's pile-in will allow him to get on the home objective. That's going to be a problem for the Grey Knights. So they hope that -1 AP, -1 to hit, and -1 to wound is going to be enough to hold and defend the home objective. Gaz will epic challenge, and it proves too much for Voldus and takes him down. The Meganobs and Makari manage to take down 2 Paladins and wound a 3rd. The Grey Knights will activate and use their pile-in to make sure they out-OC Gaz on the point. Paladins will strike back, taking down a Meganob and leaving another at just 2 wounds remaining. That will end the turn for the Orks, scoring 5 points for Area Denial and 3 points for Storm Hostile Objective, taking down Voldus. At the end of the turn, Captain Stern will absolutely nope out of there. Nemesis Dreadknight gets picked up, and the Techmarine. Top of round 5, and the WOG finally ends. The Grey Knights won't score anything on primary due to taking a secret mission. The Dreadknight that remained on station will advance towards the center objective with those Gretchen in its sights. Grandmaster will firmly secure the Orcs' home objective. NDK arrives from Deep Strike near the center objective. Captain Stern arrives right behind him. The strikes will 3-inch Deep Strike in harm's way to prevent the boys and Meganobs from making it to their home objective. Start of the shooting phase, and the Gretchen will go to ground. Captain Stern fires first and fails to score a wound. NDK off the objective fires into the same squad and picks up 6 of them. The Dreadknight on the point will split fire, and that does the trick, picking up both Gretchen squads. That will stop the burn action. Time for ongoing combat, and the Paladins are going to true silver armor. The Meganobs manage to pick up 2 of them. Gaz and Makari manage to pick up 2 more on their own. Remaining Paladins will hold fast and pick up 2 Meganobs, wounding a 3rd. That will end the turn for the Grey Knights. They'll score 4 points for behind enemy lines and 4 points for establishing Locust. This is going to be tight. Bottom of round 5, and the Orks draw Assassination and call the Horde. They'll spend a command point on New Orders and draw Established Locust instead. They'll burn a command point on Same Bravery for Gaz to make sure he can complete the burn action if needed. They will score at the end of the turn though. Start of the movement phase, and the boys will move behind enemy lines to score Established Locust for 4 points. The players will talk it out from here, agreeing that the Mega Knobs will pick up the Strike Squad and Gaz will pick up the remaining Paladins, scoring them the 5 points for Call the Horde. They were not able to start the burn action in the shooting phase, so they simply control the home objective at the end of the game, giving them 5 points on primary. The Grey Knight Grand Master is on the Orcs' home objective, scoring them the secret mission for 20 points. This will make the final score with paint 87 to 89 in favor of the Grey Knights. Wow, what a nail biter. We really hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, please do consider dropping a like and sharing the video with a friend, as we really would appreciate it. But until next time, as always, happy gaming.